Welcome, everybody, to Flicker Effects. This is episode 269, and we're recording this on Tuesday, October 9th, 2018. I'm David Lott. Joining me this episode is Bobby Jackson.
What's up?
Yasha Wilson.
Hey, everyone.
And Michelle Hillard.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
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 You didn't experiment that time.
I know. Got crazy with it and stuck with simple. That's what I do now.
Boring.
It's October.
It's October, and it still feels like August. Actually,
Is that bad there?
It's getting better.
I will say our evenings have gotten a little
Our
bit better.
evenings have gotten better.
The day's still hot as balls, but the evenings have definitely lightened up a little bit.
September was one of the hottest Septembers we've had in a while.
Oh, sweet Lord, yes.
I can't imagine that with your humidity and it being hot, record hot. That just must be miserable.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Do you know what's great?
I don't even know what to say about it. Just
Yeah. Do you know what's great though? It's the best
What? What's
excuse.
great?
It's the best excuse to go into an air-conditioned movie theater.
That's always a great excuse.
It really is.
what a segue. Well,
I use that all the time.
I'm telling you, man. I'll go sit in an air-conditioned movie theater for 2.5 hours. Hells yeah.
it's been a little bit. We have a lot to discuss in 58 minutes. And Bobby, I'm sure you'll be able to help us remember all the things that
There's
we
so
need
many.
to touch on.
There's so much news we haven't talked in 2 weeks. There's so much. Oh my god.
But before we do all of that, real quick. So I got a screener copy of Skyscraper to watch.
Oh, that's right.
I got to talk about this really quick.
Awesome.
Listen to the
Awesome.
Tony voice.
First, for the life of me, I can't remember. So Bobby and Yasha, you guys have both seen it, right?
I actually haven't. I wanted to.
Oh,
I didn't get a
okay.
chance
It
to.
was just Bobby, yeah.
It was just you, Bobby. And now for Bobby, for the life of me, I can't remember what you thought of this movie. I don't know why. I cannot remember.
Well, I mean, in a nutshell, my thoughts were that it was okay. It wasn't horrible, but honestly, it wasn't one of his better movies, in my opinion. A lot of people thought it felt like Die Hard in a sense, and there are similarities there, but there was just a lot of scenes that are meant to be over the top, and it's kind of an over the top movie. And if you buy into it, maybe you'll have fun with it. I kind of came out of it just sort of like, that was a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. What was better? I got the ultimate question. What was better, that or Rampage?
See, I enjoyed Rampage better just because it was monsters in it. It was just, it knew it was taking itself not seriously and just being over the top. And it was fun on that level. Whereas I thought Skyscraper kind of had that feel of like it was trying to be this action, throwback movie. And it just didn't. It just fell flat to me in that sense.
Okay.
Okay. Then, yeah, basically I agree with the Bobby. That's basically how I felt about it. Like, I think the problem with Skyscraper is that, like you're saying, it's trying to be this throwback kind of action movie, but it's too over the top to just be like kind of grounded. It's almost like acting like almost like a parody of Die Hard, but at the same time it's taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Like, there's one point in the film where he's about to do something insane, which happens a few times in this movie. And he has this line where he right before he goes to do it, he's like, "This is stupid." And it seems like a very purposely put line to kind of say, hey, we know that this is insane, but let's just not care and have fun and go with it.
Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time with it. Kind of like watching any of the Fast and the Furious movies at this point.
Yeah, but except there's nothing really fun about the movie, though. Like, I feel like if the movie had included more of that really good kind of Dwayne Johnson humor, which I feel like he's good at, and there's really not any of that in this movie. Like, there's really no humor. Just tries to be kind of serious, but like you said, over the top. I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
See, that's how I'm with you, David. Like, I'm sorry, Bobby. I think Dwayne Johnson does comedy supremely well.
Right.
Like, he does it better than I ever anticipated him doing. And when he does that, his comedic timing is just spot on.
And what were you gonna say, Bobby?
I was just gonna say that I felt like it's fine if you're gonna be sitting at home on the couch watching it. It just didn't feel like it lived up to the idea of something that would be this big blockbuster movie to go rush out and see in the theater. It didn't feel big in that sense. I mean, there was some stunts in there to be sure, but nothing felt like anything that was new and on the cutting edge of action. It just really kind of felt like something that I don't know, that you watch while you're just sort of passing the time and cooking in the kitchen, and it's on and you're just kind of looking up at it.
Yeah.
It just
like
seemed
if it
that.
if it were on my plane when I'm flying to San Diego, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll watch it.
Right.
But it's really not good for much else.
Mm.
Yeah. I was pretty bummed by it. And then there's one aspect of it I just really want to talk about, but it's a spoiler and I can't. It's annoying. It just really bugged the shit out of me.
I'll talk about it later.
I'm curious, yeah.
Yeah, it was just all I'll say is there was something about the building that's introduced early in the film. And I remember when it was introduced, I sat there and I went, okay, well, what in the fuck is the purpose of this? And then, of course, it plays into the end of the film. Not surprising. And I get how it works out for them at the end of the film. But when it was introduced at the beginning, I just found myself going, but I still don't understand why he made this room. What is this for?
What is the point of this?
What are these things?
I thought it just seemed to me like it was done just for the visual look of it, just because it was something that they thought looked cool. And they figured it could be a good set piece for the end.
Yeah,
but
I mean, basically, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's obvious that it's purely to serve the purpose of the scene at the end of the movie. But I'm like, at least give me somewhat of a reason, like, why this would exist. Why would he make these things that come up out of the ground and or the floor? What? It was so weird. Anyway, that bugged me. But anyway, that was Skyscraper for me. It was.
Skyscraper.
Can't win them all.
But what else has been going on? A lot of movies. Yeah, Stars Born. I saw
Movies,
that.
TV.
Oh, you guys saw that?
Saw Stars Born.
Yeah, it was so.
Have you seen the first one or any of the other ones?
So I'll start by saying I had not, and I definitely was going to say that before I say what I have to say about this movie. But no, I had never seen any of the other films that are either called A Star Is Born or, as what you explained to me, Michelle, the very first one wasn't even titled that, right?
So technically, there's one made in like the 30s, maybe the 40s. And it's not actually even called A Star Is Born, but it's basically the main idea that launched A Star Is Born. And I want to say the official first one that's called A Star Is Born is Judy Garland. And then,
Oh yeah,
right.
I forgot about that.
And then there's the Barbra Streisand one. And now this
Yeah.
one. And I've seen the Barbra Streisand one, but I will say I've only seen that one time, and it was I was in high school. So like, let me make sure I'm sure if I Wikipedia this, I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'm right. Or I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'm dead ass wrong. So it's always, I never lie somewhere in the middle of that. So, but anyways, yeah. So I do know that technically there is an old version, black and white version, and it's not called A Star Is Born, but it's basically.
Well, there was
basically A Star Is Born.
There was a 1937 version called A Star Is Born.
Okay. Well, then, okay. Then there you have it. It actually was called A Star Is Born.
And then 1954 was Judy Garland.
Right.
James Mason.
Yes.
76 was Barbra Streisand.
Right.
Chris Christopherson.
So, and I don't know if the endings are all the same. I'm sure basically the endings are all similar, but I don't think they're all the same, if that makes sense.
Right.
And if you see the films, then you'll understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
That's all I got.
What did you think of the movie, Michelle? Well, first, has anybody else seen it? Bobby or Yasha, did you guys see this movie?
I have not.
Bobby?
I have.
You have?
Okay.
Okay.
I will go off with saying that, so basically this movie came out on my birthday weekend, and knowing that it's my birthday weekend and I'm doing birthday things, it was like, dude, I'm only going to get one movie in. And basically A Star Is Born came out and Venom came out. And I'm like, if I'm only picking one movie, I'm picking A Star Is Born. Like, I've been wanting to see it. Everybody's been raving about it. It has been a big topic of conversation out there in the media. So I have to say I went to this film with really high expectations because it has been really, 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 really talked about. And I will definitely say I really enjoyed the film a lot. It did not meet my high expectations. I think I overshot my expectations a bit, which is it happens sometimes. But I will say I enjoyed this film thoroughly. I especially got the first hour. I don't know. There's just a vibe about it, a feeling that just is. It's really good. It's really intense. I have to say, for Bradley Cooper's first out as a director, kudos. I think he did a really great job as this being his debut baby. Like, good job on you, Bradley. And then on top of that, honestly, Bradley Cooper's performance was really, really good. And Lady Gaga was awesome. She basically stole the show, but Bradley Cooper's performance was also really, really, really good. So I can't officially say she stole the show because honestly, I think both of them did a great job. Her singing performances were just ridiculous. Oh my God. Like, there were 2 times in the movie theater, I actually got goosebumps. Like, I literally was just like, dear sweet Jesus. Like, that woman can sing. Like, it's amazing. But, no, I really enjoyed it. I loved the camera work that they have, especially whenever they were on stage. It was like the camera work on stage was really intense, and it really made you feel like you were literally like thrown on stage in the middle of a freaking festival with thousands and thousands of people, and you're just, yeah, it was awesome. And I think the chemistry that they had with each other was really good. Again, having already seen the Barbra Streisand version and just kind of knowing how this movie kind of is, like, I knew what I was getting into when I went to this theater. Like, I knew the basic premise of what was going to be going down in this movie from the beginning to the end. So it's not like there was any major surprise to me of when it ended, but I still liked it. I still liked it a lot. And I think every performance that was on there was captivating in a different way, each one. But yeah, it's that last performance. Oh my God. Just, whew, man, I didn't get tears in my eyes, but I was definitely like, holy crap. I had goosebumps at the last performance. Like that last song that she sings in the movie, I had goosebumps up and down my arms. I was like, oh my God. But no, I really, 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 really enjoyed it. I don't think I can quite say this is going to be a top 10er for the year, but I think honorable mentions is for sure.
You don't think it'll make your top 10, huh? I'm kind of surprised.
I don't know, but it's October. There's like 3 more months to go,
man. I know. We got a lot.
There's still a lot to go. They're going to cram in all this crap.
It depends on what you'll get to see.
I was going to say,
you may not get to see them all.
They're going to cram in a ton of movies in the last 10 days of 2018. So, there's still a lot. So, yeah, that's my opinion. That's all I got.
Bobby, I'm curious to know, what do you think of it?
So I hadn't seen any of the previous iterations of this movie either, and all I knew about it was surface level stuff about you have this musician who's kind of already peaked necessarily in his career and is on the downswing, and he discovers this young girl, and finds talent in her, and where she wasn't always the person to sort of bring that out of herself, and he's able to bring that out of her and help her reach new heights. And there's that dynamic of that relationship between the two of them. And I found the first hour to be really, really good. I mean, I came out of that movie just feeling like I wanted to listen to the soundtrack immediately because a lot of the songs and performances are so good. And when you hear the stories about how Bradley Cooper learned how to play guitar and learned singing in the way that he needed to for this movie.
Oh, did you?
Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Did you know that he followed around Eddie Vedder for 3 months?
No, I didn't even know that part of the story.
Oh, yeah. So he basically was incredible. Eddie Vedder's like attached limb for 3 months, which honestly, and I can come back to this, but yeah, just as a FYI, like that's one of the things that really got him into this whole thing, got his character going. But anyhow, sorry, continue. So sorry, totally interrupted you.
No worries. So, just seeing everything that he went through in order just to nail this part, it really showed, and I felt like this is one of his best performances that I've seen him in anything that I've seen him in. I just thought he just really gave forth this effort, and you just feel that, like, you just want to give the guy a hug as he's going through it, and he just portrays that really, really well. And I thought, like, obviously as a first-time director, the movie looks good. I mean, the different places that he has to go to and shoot and locations and everything, I just thought from a visual standpoint, it also looked really good. I'll say the one thing that I think, if I had to sort of bring it down for certain things, it was that, one, it felt a little too long. I think there could have been some stuff that could have been trimmed down to shorten it a little bit. And then on the other hand, some of where those things could have been cut out, I think more could have been given to Lady Gaga's section, because of the fact that towards the second part of the movie, certain things were happening so fast, and there was never any moment of, and this isn't a spoiler to say, but as her star starts to rise, I never really got a sense of her sort of getting to experience that fully. It just seemed to be, okay, now she's getting this and she's getting that. And it just was like, okay, she's just moving up in the world. But I didn't get a sense of her sort of reveling in that experience where you might, in a different movie, she would get to sort of flesh that out, of her experiencing stardom and all that stuff. So that all kind of seemed a little short shrift and cut a little bit short. But then the other aspect, I think, that kind of a lot of people were praising Lady Gaga for her performance in this, and no doubt she was really good. But I felt like her strongest parts were her performing, which naturally they should be because she's a singer. But I thought that there was times when the acting was kind of a little bit, I was like, maybe you might have want to do another take on that line, because it didn't kind of seem right to me. But that was not all the time, and for the most part, she handled herself very well in this movie. And I just thought, like, as a story, since I hadn't seen it before, in certain ways you can kind of predict the beats, but still towards the end, there was things going on there that I didn't necessarily know was going to happen. That was definitely, it hits you in a certain sort of way. And so overall, I really loved the movie a lot, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again, especially specifically because the performances and that's their chemistry together when they're singing, and the duets and the songs, the music of it was really, really good. And so for that alone, I'd really suggest going to go see it, and me even wanting to see it a second time.
What? You see a movie twice? Shut up.
I didn't say I would, but I would want to.
Shut the front door.
That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, yeah, real quick, I'll say I also really liked the movie. Did it meet my expectations either? Not quite, because like you, Michelle, like, yeah, been hearing a lot of raving, talk about this film. So I think my expectations are maybe a bit up there.
Rotten Tomatoes has it really high. Like,
I mean, it's a solid movie. It's a very good film.
Sure.
So, I mean, in terms of Rotten Tomatoes, you're just thinking about, it's either positive or negative. I can't imagine a negative review of the film. So yeah, I could almost see, it's 100%. Okay, fine.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, it's a good movie. It's a great movie. I mean, the performances are great. Like you guys have already said, especially the musical performances in it are amazing. Mm-hmm. I think all the acting's great. I mean, I think I know what you mean, Bobby, about some of Lady Gaga's lines. I think there were a couple times that I remember going, but for the most part, I actually thought she was pretty great overall, with a couple exceptions, I think, like you're talking about. Yeah, I think for me, it's just, it ends up being a pretty predictable, almost like a biopic. It has the kind of the arc of a biopic, even though this isn't one. And it's pretty predictable. And I guess that's what ends up bothering me about it when the movie came to an end. Even though the very, very end of the film, the very last scene is fantastic, that you've already kind of mentioned, Michelle. But still, just the way the arc of the film plays out, I've just kind of found myself going, oh, okay. The second half of the film, there was nothing about the second half that was like, it just wasn't like the first half. The first half was fantastic, like both of you guys have basically already said. But then it just goes down a road, and I'm like, okay, well, I can see where this is going. Yep, that's where it's going, and it is what it is. But overall, is the film fantastic?
Michelle said that she really liked the last part of the movie. So when you liked it, you said you kind of got goosebumps and stuff like that. Did you have the same feeling that you had when Rabbit beat Free World in 8 Mile, or is this a completely different feeling?
Are you asking me or Michelle?
Michelle, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the movie as a whole is solid. And the second half, I think, is not quite as intense as the first half. But at the same time, what it is I was saying, like, basically the very last scene is her last performance of the film, and it's extremely powerful, and it's just Gaga at her best. It's pretty impressive. Cool. It's just. I just was sitting there going, "Oh my God!" Like, it was just, it was amazing. But yeah.
And this is kind of like, if you wanted to compare it, this would be Lady Gaga's 8 Mile in a sense, because it kind of feels like it's her story.
That's kind of how I envisioned it, actually. I mean, it looked like a romantic comedy, or not a romantic comedy, but a romantic film as well. But I did envision something along the lines of that as well.
Yeah.
So anything else that you guys saw this past weekend? Anybody see Venom?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Bobby. I know you saw Venom.
Yeah.
Venom. So.
Oh, you did see Venom?
I've been dying to hear what you thought of the movie, Bobby. I really have.
Well, I mean, so just to sort of put it in perspective, Spider-Man's always been my favorite superhero character. Well, I shouldn't say always, but for the longest period of time, he's been my favorite superhero character. And I know the Venom story very, very well. In fact, I have those issues in which Venom was first introduced into the comics. So I know what his character is and what he should be. And so when Tom Hardy was first announced to be in this movie, I was given a little bit of hope, because when they first announced that there was going to be a Venom movie, I was just like, it didn't make sense to me. My head hurt trying to wrap myself around the fact that why would they make a Venom movie if Spider-Man's not a part of it? It just doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? And so, okay, Tom Hardy gets announced to be doing this thing, and so I'm like, okay, well, I mean that's something. And then you hear Michelle Williams, Riz Ahmed, and then you're just like, okay, well, there's definitely a good cast here. How can they do this movie in a way that I can be able to accept it and be okay with the fact that Spider-Man is in it? So just fast forward to the reviews starting to come out, and the critics are saying essentially like, this is a big swing and a miss for Sony, that they shouldn't have even made the attempt, that Tom Hardy, he's good, but even he's not good enough for this movie. So I went in like super low expectations, and honestly, I'm surprised, but I enjoyed Venom. I did not see that coming at all. But what I actually ended up liking about the movie was the relationship between Tom Hardy and the symbiote that's Venom. And the way that they tell this story apart from Spider-Man, it makes it feel like, okay, this is a version of that story that could happen if you don't have Spider-Man in it. And the I think the what the version that they were going for with this version of Venom and how they played it out, it felt right, and it felt like it worked for me. And I can see there's so many things about it that people are ripping up, and I don't begrudge it because I can see it. But all I can say is that it hit me just the right way, in a way that I wasn't expecting it to, for me to come away from it saying, they did a lot right. Now you're making good money. Now let's fix those things for the sequel and make it even better. So I got to say, I didn't think I'd like it, but I did end up enjoying Venom. And I took my son, and going into the movie, he was like, he knows who Venom is, but he wasn't saying anything about Venom prior to that movie. And then he comes out of the movie and he's like, Venom's my favorite character. And I was like, since when? And he's like, oh, I always like Venom. Like, you did not always like Venom. And now he's like in love with Venom. So obviously it plays to the younger crowd as well. But I did end up enjoying the movie.
Wow.
So Yashi, you didn't see it?
Did not expect that. I did see it. I'm actually going to go on the opposite end of that with Bobby. And I know he's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Honestly, I looked at this movie, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I honestly would rate it probably a 5. I went in with very low expectations just because the reviews kind of did start to get ahead of me, and everywhere I turned, everybody kept, talking about it, and then people were asking me about it, and, I wasn't totally sold on the idea, and I was just kind of like, okay, how does this work? And like Bobby, Spider-Man is definitely one of my long-standing favorite comic books. I'm very well familiar with the history of Venom, where he's come from. I too have the issues that he first appears, where the costume came from, that whole relationship. To me, that's kind of what makes Venom Venom. I can see what he's talking about when it comes to this could kind of happen in this world. What I didn't necessarily like, though, were the nods to the Spider-Man universe without actually having Spider-Man there. There are some Easter eggs, and I know Bobby caught those right away because I'm sure that he was looking for them as well, because I definitely was. When it comes to the Spider-Man, the symbiote coming, and Tom Hardy's Tom Hardy. I expected nothing less than, him being fantastic in the film. And I really wanted to go see this movie based on, I wanted to see how he was going to portray this character. I did enjoy the relationship between the symbiote and Tom Hardy's character, Eddie Brock. I thought that was solid. Aside from that, all I really went in there was expecting a really good performance by Tom Hardy and really cool special effects, and that's pretty much what I got. Aside from that, wasn't a huge fan of the story, wasn't a huge fan of the outcome, wasn't really a huge fan of the setup necessarily for the sequel. Maybe just because I'm not entirely sold on who they're going to have as the bad guy or play the bad guy, even though I'm a huge fan of his as well. And I've been wrestling with that a little bit, and I know that he could probably pull it off and he'll do it really well. I'm just not completely sold on this franchise just yet. And I guess I'm with Bobby with that. He knows the issues that are there. Hopefully they take those issues and they listen to some of the fans, which they don't really have a track record or history of doing, and kind of make some of those adjustments and changes for the next movie. Because the movie's done well, and, it pulled in, I think it was 80 million for the weekend. So, by all accounts, if they drop off 50% for the next weekend, they will make, over their production budget for the film, which surprised me. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to continue this franchise, if they're going to continue this franchise and, how it progresses. Because I mean, and I'll watch the second one. I mean, if they make it, I definitely will be in the theater watching it, probably opening weekend. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I legitimately just kind of was like, yeah, I can. That was okay. That was a 5, solid 5 for me. I could have taken it. I could have done. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I will say the two knocks against it, in my opinion, is it in the beginning it takes quite a long time before you actually see Venom. They spend a lot of time with just Eddie Brock and some of the other stuff setting up the villain in the movie and all those aspects, which they could have shaved about 5-10 minutes off that and got to Venom a little bit quicker, and that would have been better. And the other aspect that kind of I think is also a concern based on why they didn't have Venom as early on is that you see Venom. I don't think in thought about it after the fact, I don't think there was one scene of Venom in the daytime. Everything was at night. And because of the special effects nature of it, it's easier to hide the visual effects when it's night. And so
like that.
you never see him in the daylight. So it's like between one, not seeing the character as much as you would want to, and two, every time you do see him, it's at night. It's like, that they were doing everything that they could to keep that budget at $100 million, because anything else that would have started to balloon up. And now that they've made some money, I'm hoping that's one of those things that they change, is that they actually spend a little bit more money on it and get the visual effects even better, and to be able to have that character in different situations and not just sort of trying to hide the visual effects a little bit.
So, Venom, do I see it, or?
I've not heard amazing things about it at this point. I will be watching it at home.
I mean, it was okay. Like, I mean, the fight scenes and the special effects, those were definitely very cool, especially some of the climactic parts when they were going up. I don't want to give too much away here, but when he was in the last scenes fighting, they were fantastic. They were definitely fantastic. I feel that the Eddie Brock that I've grown to know and know well through the comic books is much angrier and more frustrated than they really let on, in making him a sad sap in this movie. And to me, it's just like, I mean, that was pretty different. And I can kind of get behind some of the differences when it comes to, altering little things, especially in the comic books. But like Bobby said, it's like, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, how do you have this character who is very much a staple in the Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man? Like, to me, it really bothered me for some reason. So I just couldn't get past it.
All right. Well, Michelle, what'd you think of the new Doctor?
Oh, yeah. The 13th Doctor?
Is it 13?
12. 11?
Come on, you've been binging
13?
Doctor Who for 2 weeks.
I know. Not that much. I missed a few things. So, yeah, I'm trying to become a Whovian.
You're trying to become a Whovian. You say that like... So I want to be a Whovian. So what's this show? I'm going to watch this show so I can be a Whovian.
kind of what's happened.
Because you guys are cool.
You guys are fun. They're a fun group. They're a bunch of dorks. It's awesome. So BBC America for 2 weeks was running all day, all night Doctor Who marathon, but they ran the whole thing out of order. It was really wonky.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was like Ninth Doctor, and then it went to Capaldi, who was the last Doctor,
right.
And then it went back to David Tennant, and then it went to
Matt Smith.
Thank you. So they basically ran Matt Smith's and then went right into the new Doctor. So it was 9, 10, 11, 12. So she's 13.
She's 13.
I'm not crazy. You make me question myself.
Here to help.
So I don't have any of this information up. Well, I don't have any of this information up. It's really awesome. So we have a new Doctor, and it's a female Doctor. Woohoo! For the first time since ever. At least for our main doctor, I should say. We'll put it that way.
For our main? What do you mean?
Because there's...
Oh, yeah, there's other... Yeah.
There are others that aren't our doctor.
Right.
And they have been female.
Yes.
So I'm not saying...
Sorry, at first I don't know what you meant by our main doctor.
For our doctor, the doctor that we all know and love. See, and I don't have any of this stuff up. Doctor Who. Anyways. Google. Don't mind me. IMDb. Well, Jodie Whittaker. And I will say, so the first episode premiered on Sunday. It was at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because it was a simulcast across the globe broadcast. And I really liked it a lot. I feel like a lot of the things that I don't like about the earlier Doctor Who's really kind of, it's much cleaner. The effects are better. I think the storyline's a little better. I think the acting is a little bit better. I feel like everything's just a little bit better because they've really had different showrunners. I guess there was a major showrunner change on the last seasons of Tennant just before Matt Smith came in. And I think that changed a lot. And different writers came in. A lot of the guys that are on Sherlock came in and really kind of switched it all up. But I thought the episode was really good. It, starts out traditionally. The new doctor comes into the play and is basically just trying to figure out what the hell is up with that person's life. And then by the end of the show is like, I'm the doctor. And I don't know. I like her. She's quirky as the doctor usually is, but she has a few things that are different quirks than other doctors. And I'm sure we'll get to know more. And the show ended on a really good cliffhanger. And I'm looking forward to checking it out next Sunday at 8 o'clock. But I'll have to watch it later because when we record our lovely podcast. So, yeah. We have a female doctor.
So you're going to keep up with it, is what you're saying?
I will keep up with it. I really like the episode I just saw, and yeah, I'm down with this Time Lord. Woman power. Woot. That's what I got.
Nice.
Yeah.
I take it nobody else watched it, right? Anyone?
Not me.
No.
Crickets.
I got it set to... I've recorded it, but I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Did you record the special... so they did there's a longer version, I guess. It's got a few extra scenes in it.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they played it at like 8 o'clock that night, and it was like a longer version, and then they had this whole Q&A, and there's all... Yeah,
that's the one I recorded, because I'm in the same boat. I recorded it, and I want to watch it. Because I was seeing it here and there when you were watching it, Michelle, but I didn't really get to pay attention like you were. So I'm not going to even share an opinion on it. I really didn't get to see it in its entirety.
I will say, I think I only sat and got to pay full attention about 90% of the show. There were still
That's a good
bits
show.
and pieces here. I got to see most of it. I'm happy with it. I liked it. From what I saw, I really enjoyed it. I think she's really captivating to see, and there's an energy about her that I think is really good. So I am looking forward to more episodes, and I think it's interesting. There's a difference because usually, our Time Lord, our doctor, only has like one, maybe two companions, really. And it looks like she's turning out, she's got 3 companions with her for most of the show. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, for the most part, I'm not a Whovian. I've seen some Doctor Who, but I haven't watched it regularly. And yeah, it seems like he always has a companion. I think in the case of... I can remember Karen Gillan, when she was the companion for a bit, it was like her and her boyfriend, I think, kind of with him.
And like I said, but mostly it's just one companion with a couple others that kind of come in and out of play.
Right.
But really just one companion is with the doctor at any time. So it's interesting. It looks like there's going to be 3 companions.
Yeah, at least based off this
solidly.
first episode and the previews for the second episode, it seems like,
There's going to be 3
She's got 3 people hanging out with her.
It's different.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's just... I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I will say, in my education I've had over the last 2 weeks, and I have not watched every episode. I've definitely not seen every season. I really got into the Peter Capaldi ones. I was really enjoying those a lot. I was surprised. I was like, man, Peter Capaldi, hey. I thought he was a good doctor. I think he's, from what I've seen, I think I could say he's probably my favorite doctor thus far.
Yeah.
Which I think some people will be like, what? You crazy. Tennant's the best. Matt Smith's the best. But I don't know. There was something about Capaldi I really enjoyed.
That's cool.
I know. I'm gonna be the weird one. I'm gonna be the weird Doctor Who fan.
I don't think you're that weird. I'm sure there's plenty of Capaldi fans.
When's our next con? This is gonna be a great conversation.
Michelle, if you're going to be a Whovian, then you should know that they're no longer called companions. They're called friends.
Oh, see, there you go. I mean, I'm so new to this.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
When did this transition happen?
Probably during Capaldi.
With Jodie.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently, and they're never, from what I understand, they're never called companions in show. That's what out show people call them.
Right.
And now they're calling them friends instead of companions. I don't know if it has anything to do with now that she's a female and how that connotation seems to be if you call him a companion. I didn't get down to the reasoning of why, but apparently now they're called friends.
Well, she should now be a time lady.
Instead of a lord?
Instead of a time lord,
Maybe
she's a time
lordess?
lady. Which I don't know if I'm on board with. I think she should still be just time lord. But I mean, whatever. I'm not... It's cool. I mean, I'm all for feminism things, but I'm just kind of like, just call her a time lord. Like, she's a doctor. It's fine. It's cool. Anyways, I liked it. I'm down with it. Let's get this going. Next. I've actually watched a lot of pilots for TV shows on last week.
Well,
I've seen a lot.
You've seen a lot. What else?
I've watched a lot, actually. I watched this one called I Feel Bad. It's a comedy sitcom.
This on?
Oh, you would ask that. It's ABC? NBC? I don't know.
Well, you obviously don't remember much about it. So what was the next one
I
you watched?
do remember a lot about it. I actually liked it. It's about a woman. She's a mother of 3, and she's trying to kind of basically balance everything. I guess every episode's going to focus on her feeling bad about a certain topic. Like, the last episode was, I feel bad about lying to my children. She feels... It's basically about women and how they always carry a guilt with them kind of all the time. But it's done in a comedic way. It's actually pretty cute. I liked it. And then I watched...
wondering, it's on NBC.
It is on NBC. Okay, there you go. And then I saw, what is it? Single Parents. That one,
okay.
I don't know if I'm feeling Single Parents so much.
Really, I actually like Single Parents. I think Brad Garrett's the best part of the show. Yeah, I think him and his twins are absolutely hilarious.
I will agree with you there. I will agree with you there. I think he was definitely the highlight of the show with his twins.
Yeah, he was the highlight of the show. Like, honestly, I like all the parents except for the person that's supposed to be sending around.
The
like,
woman
I
or
think
the
he's
guy?
the weakest part of the show. What's that?
The woman or the guy?
The guy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the woman, I guess you could. I mean, she's pretty good too. I mean, she's okay. But him and he's the weakest part of the show, in my opinion. Like, he's just too over the top, and it looks like they're trying too hard with his character. His daughter's fine. Like, they're all the little kids are just wonderful little actors. But Brad Garrett and his twins, they had me in stitches the first episode. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought they were great.
Yeah, I'll go with that. The only other one I would say that is worth mentioning that I think everybody should be watching right now and enjoying is A Million Little Reasons. What is A Million Tiny Reasons? No, I can't even think of the title of it. A Million Little Things. It's an hour-long drama on ABC. And it centers around a group of people who one of their friends commit suicide, and it's how they're all realizing that they're all friends, but they all really don't dig as deep as they probably should be in friendships, and it's now getting real. And I don't know, I'm really digging on this one. It's quite good. It's had 2 episodes. I want to say the 3rd episode will be Wednesday night, so it'll be easy to catch up. I think it's really good. I think it's really good storytelling. If you enjoy the other show that I like, This Is Us. If you like This Is Us, you'll like A Million Little Things. Or if you liked Parenthood, or this is in your wheelhouse, my friends.
This is on ABC?
This is on ABC, yeah. And of course, This Is Us started back up, and my God, those 2 episodes were good. So good. Yeah, anyways. That's all I know about the fall season thus far. Boop, boop.
All right, we got 15 minutes left, Bobby.
Bobby's like, all right, let's do news. Let's crunch this.
Bobby, what do we need to cover in 15 minutes?
Let's see. Well, why don't we try and talk about? This is what I'll do. I'll name out some stuff that's happened in the last couple weeks, and whatever takes you over, you want to talk about. Let's do that.
All right, I like it.
We had a whole bunch of trailers. So let me just run through this list of stuff.
There's been a lot of trailers.
We got Creed 2, X-Men Dark Phoenix, Fantastic Beast, Bumblebee, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Holmes and Watson, Rocket Man, and an extended 5-minute trailer for Aquaman. So let's see, David, out of those, what did you see? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, first I'll say about the Aquaman trailer, that's actually the footage they showed us at the end of Hall H panel.
Yeah,
the same
it is.
exact.
So we saw that months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
and I don't have
so
very many
actually
thoughts
now
or
that
feelings
you
on
guys
it.
have seen it, I'm curious to know what you thought of it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you
I
haven't
don't
watched
want to
it?
watch it.
Oh. I mean, I don't think it's going to give you a lot more information. It's just basically.
It'll give me more scenes, and I don't want to see more scenes. I'm good with what I know
respect
of
that.
it now.
Because honestly,
it
I
does have.
almost didn't even watch it.
Yeah.
And then I saw this one like really raving kind of article title for it, like it's fantastic, and I'm like, all right, fine. Then I watched it, and I was like, oh, this is what
I
we
already saw this.
And I'm like,
It does have a big character scene in it.
well,
Bobby,
you've probably even seen a picture of that, Bobby. So I wouldn't even.
But he's really like in action and like doing stuff.
Yeah, I guess. But
all right. I'm trying to help Bobby out here. You're shooting me down.
no, I get why you wouldn't watch it, but I
Totally
mean,
why you wouldn't watch it.
I don't know if Yasha's seen it. He may have seen it.
Yeah, Yasha, have you watched it yet?
No, I'm actually with you, Bobby. I don't need to see anything else. I just kind of want to watch the movie at this point, and I don't need to see any more or have any spoilers or anything else when it comes to getting a chance to watch the movie. I'll do that too after a while. You know, I don't need to see any more trailers. I don't need to see any more teasers. I don't need to see anything else or read anything else. I just kind of want to watch the movie. I have my own doubts and whatnot when it comes to the movie to begin with, but I'm still all in and I can't wait.
I was going to say next, Rocket Man I knew had dropped, but I just never got around to watching it. So it's one of those few trailers that I saw it for the first time in a movie theater before Stars Born. And I'm excited about that. And
It's interesting.
And in fact, at this point, I think especially because of some of the now Twitter reactions I've seen for Bohemian Rhapsody, I think I'm looking more forward to Rocket Man than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Based on now that you've heard a little bit of some of the reactions.
Some of the reactions, which don't surprise me, sadly. Like, I've been pumped for Bohemian Rhapsody because those trailers are effing solid. Those are
awesome.
really well done trailers for that movie. Yeah. But then I did...
But the music seems to sell it more so than what you're seeing of the scenes per se.
Yeah. But I don't know, I did have a feeling. I'm like, these are really well done trailers, but something tells me like it's really well done trailers. Let's not get too excited about this movie. And I mean, I'm not really, I'm kind of skirting around what the reactions have been. They haven't been like bad. They just have been.
No.
I think what it is at the end of the day, it's a biopic.
Yeah.
That's just really all there is to it. It's a biopic. And I think it's hard to always make those really amazing and exciting and enticing. But then you see Rocket Man.
Rocket Man just looks different enough.
It's going to be a little more fantastical. It's bending the truth and making it a little more fun, it looks like. And it could be, I don't know, it looks intriguing. I think it's a different take on a biopic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Dark Phoenix.
Phoenix, I don't know. I just don't care.
It's just frustrating for me to even say because I'm such an X-Men person.
What's sad about
the Dark Phoenix is I watched the trailer and I was like, wow, that looks good. Yet I don't care. Like, I'm just like, I could take it or leave it at this point. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck ever, man. Like, I mean, it's been so long and we've heard about the rewrites or reshoots and all the problems that you guys have had. Like, it's like, this is taking forever. And the Apocalypse one was just, to me, was so lackluster and anticlimactic when it came to like what it was really supposed to deliver, in my opinion. Then it's like, I don't know what to expect with this. And it's like, great job on the editing for the trailer. Still don't fucking care though. Like, I'm just like, it's like nothing, in my opinion, has really sold me on the idea. Like, I need to rush out and go see this movie.
All right.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix for me, I don't know. And I will say, I don't even think the trailer is particularly well done for me. Plus, I just don't care. I don't know. Like, after that last movie, I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't even know her as Jean Grey really that well, and to now go down this road.
That's a really good statement, though. That is.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I can't help but just to feel like, okay, this is kind of now the swan song of the 20th century Fox version or era of X-Men films, and I'm just like, let's just move on to the MCU and just come on.
Yeah, you and I had a whole combo on that. We can get into later. I will say, so there's one you didn't mention, and that was for The Mule. The trailer for The Mule. And Dave and I talked about this. It's Clint Eastwood. And I feel like his last few films have been kind of meh, so, whatever. But that trailer, it is at least a solidly done trailer at the bare minimum. That film looks good. I'm like, wow, that film looks, okay.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that trailer.
Yeah, I agree. I think The Mule looks solid. That, like you said, we discussed, like, I haven't even seen, I guess, his last couple or so films, but I just haven't heard anything good about them, and I've had no desire. And then I see the trailer for this, and I'm like, oh, this looks good.
Right.
I watch this.
At the least,
I will. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was just saying, at the least, it's a well done trailer, minimally.
Right.
Yeah, I saw it for the first time as well when I watched A Star Is Born, and I thought it looked pretty good, and it seemed like Clint Eastwood back on track, sort of, so to speak, and interesting concept, and it'd be cool to see how it plays out. I know they have it coming out in December, in that busy, crowded month, but yeah, it looks like something that will be pretty good for him to have it sort of turn around from where he's been coming from lately. Okay, with the trailers that I just mentioned, my highlights, I agree with what you guys said about X-Men Dark Phoenix. I think that last movie really took the wind out of the sails of the X-Men series for me. And so I'm kind of at that point too, where I'm just ready to see what Marvel does with them once they go to the MCU. The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looked really good, and even the little bit that they show at the end of at the movies is like really good as well. The ones that really got me all geeked up though was Creed 2, just seeing that dynamic of Rocky in the ring with Drago again is just, I cannot wait for that movie. That movie is probably like at least one or two in my anticipated for the rest of the year movies. It just looks like it's going to be fantastic. I love a good boxing movie and Rocky movie and those things. So I'm super excited for that. And the other one that, actually the other two that surprised me, one was Bumblebee, because in some of those scenes they were showing like old school Generation 1 Transformers like Shockwave and Soundwave, and seeing them look like how they did in the cartoon, especially like Optimus Prime. I was geeking out, and I was like, if nothing else, if this movie is crap all the way through, if nothing else, at least they got something right. So I was excited for that, just that part at least.
Nice.
And
you know what, Bobby? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
You know, I was just going to echo what you said. Is like when I saw that trailer for Bumblebee with the extended trailer, I guess you could say, with all the throwback for the Transformers, because I've been kind of in the same realm as you, especially. I mean, I've watched the Transformer movies for the reviews, but they've been terrible. They've been arguably absolutely garbage. Seeing how Soundwave looked, and hopefully sounds, and some of the other characters just looking the way that they did when they were in the movies and the cartoons. I was just like, I can't wait to hear what Bobby thinks about this, because this looks like the Transformers movie that we've been waiting for and hoping for the better part of a decade now. You know, I think it's been about 10 years since the first one came out. So it's just like, this is what we've been looking for and waiting for. I'm really interested to see how this transpires.
And I am right there with you. So I got my fingers crossed hoping for this movie. And it's just going to be such an intense week that week, just because you've got Mary Poppins, and then you've got Bumblebee, and you've got Aquaman. And I think there's one other one, the Avatar, I think. No, not the Avatar, Mortal Engines or something, I think is that same weekend. But the trailer that surprised me, that I was like, really didn't care to even see, but I happened to be at the movie theaters and it was on and I just watched it, was the Fantastic Beasts trailer. That actually got me on board with this movie, because I was one of the only ones out of you guys who didn't really care that much about the first one. But seeing this new trailer for this movie, it super got me on board, because one of my complaints was of the first one was that I didn't find anything all that magical about it per se. It didn't feel like it felt adjacent to the universe, and this feels well within it, and it looks good, and the story seems interesting. So I'm super on board now, looking forward to Fantastic Beasts sequel. So that was pretty much my take on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that trailer, because I don't know. I like the first Fantastic Beasts film, and the trailers have been fine, but this one, it does an even better job of really attaching it to the Harry Potter films. So it's hard not, if you're a Harry Potter fan, it's hard not to get, I think, excited about this one.
I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm with you, Bobby. Just to echo basically almost word for word what you said with the Creed 2, to see Rocky and Drago back in the ring and see them just kind of face off against each other. I'm so excited to see that in itself, because I remember watching that Rocky. What was it, Rocky 4? Rocky 4, or I remember watching that in the theater. Yeah. And seeing that firsthand as a kid, seeing Apollo Creed go down, like leaning over to my dad and asking, wait, is he going to get back up? And realizing that that's part of the movie and part of the story, and seeing where this is going. I can't wait to see if they talk, what their interaction is going to be. Just those two iconic characters when it comes to this franchise. Like, I'm just excited about that. And I'm looking forward to Fantastic Beasts, because I enjoyed the first one. I thought it was in the realm of Harry Potter, and it looks like they're going to be taking it a step further and stepping up their magical game, if they would, for this movie. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
So I know we're short on time, but I really don't think we can wait before the next podcast without talking about two items within a short amount of time. One, there was news about Jon Favreau's series for the streaming service that came out, that he's doing a show. It's called The Mandalorian. And we know that it's set sometime after Return of the Jedi, but before The Force Awakens, if I'm not mistaken. And the other news story that broke today is that James Gunn is writing and possibly directing Suicide Squad 2. So I'll throw it to David. What do you think of those two things?
Oh, man. I'm pumped about The Mandalorian. I was pumped about the show anyway. So, cool. It's about a Mandalorian. We even got an official first image of this character, which looks awesome.
And we know directors who will be directing.
Yeah, it's like Bryce Dallas Howard is directing an episode, right? And
yeah,
like I forget who else, but
Bryce Dallas Howard, Rick Fumiyawa. I think.
I never get his last name right, but yeah.
Yeah, and Dave Filoni.
Yep.
Who's big from the Rebels and from Clone Wars cartoons.
Right.
And Taika Waititi is
Oh yeah,
one as well.
that's what I think. Yep, I was trying to think of. Yeah, I mean, I'm pumped, and now I actually feel good that it's like basically started production, from my understanding. Obviously, we have an official picture, and seems like it started production. So it's been one of those things I think I talked about before when we talked about the Disney streaming service, and we keep getting these amazing announcements about the streaming service, but I feel like nothing is actually happening yet. I'm like, this all sounds amazing. Like, I can't wait to get a Marvel show with, Tom Hiddleston playing Loki and all this. But are we actually going to shoot anything? Is this service actually going to happen in reality, or is this just all fantasy that sounds way too good to be true? But okay, it sounds like they're actually shooting this now. Awesome. I cannot wait. But I'll say real quick, as for James Gunn and Suicide Squad 2, this is tough because it's like, I love James Gunn. Even with my opinions about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, overall, I love what he did with that franchise, and I hated to see him get fired from Disney, and I wanted the first Suicide Squad to be so good, and it was so terrible. And sure, would it be awesome to have that franchise redeemed and have a great sequel? And if he's writing it, it's a step in the right direction. I don't know. Part of me almost wishes he could go off and just do something original, but I mean, it's not bad news. I guess I haven't really had enough time to digest it, so I'm not sure what I think of it. It's weird, Part of me feels like I should be pumped and excited as a DC fan, right? Like, man, we got this great director that has proved himself over on the Marvel side. Like, this is going to be great, but I don't know. Maybe part of me wishes he was doing something for DC that wasn't Suicide Squad, like something else. Like, I get that Suicide Squad made money, but and obviously they're making a sequel, but I don't know. Am I making sense?
It is. Yeah. But from what I understand, you were saying that James Gunn is potentially taking it into a different direction. So whether that means a new team or what, who knows? But I mean, it doesn't seem like he's just going to essentially do the same thing over. And I think you'll get something different and a way to improve that franchise. And like you said, sort of a step in the right direction for DC and hopefully, bigger and better things to come.
So, yeah, that's where I am on those two things. Anyone else? Anyone? Michelle, you have
I think this is the first that I've heard of the James Gunn and the DC universe. This is the first that I've heard of that today. It sounds cool, but honestly, David, I'm kind of like with you on that one. I mean, I enjoy, per se, you could say, the Suicide Squad story. I like seeing all the characters. I thought the end result of the movie was kind of dumb. But aside from that, I did kind of enjoy it. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing James Gunn come in there and do something like that because I think he's fantastic. And like you, I hated to see him leave the Marvel world and the universe, especially since, he probably has a great idea as to finish out his trilogy of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but, we'll never get a chance to see it. So, if he can do something with this franchise and make this really, really cool, that would be great. But I'm like you, David. I think that, it'd be great if he could just kind of go off and do something fun and original as well.
Right.
Michelle, you got thoughts?
I mean, as far as The Mandalorian goes, I think it's awesome and it's great news, but yeah, I'm still kind of in the whole okay, streaming, is this gonna happen? Like, it just still seems so too good to be true. I'm with you guys on this. And then I'm also still I'm in the whole wow, what an awesome FU to Disney and Marvel that, James Gunn gets to go off and do this, DC with Universal. But at the same time, I would almost prefer him to just go off and do a completely different project on his own and just own it completely and just come out of the gate fully charged. I feel like this is still going to be other people holding the reins and restraining him in a way. And I feel like he could just do a different project altogether completely. Nothing.
Well, I think he's definitely going to be reined in because, I mean, that's what DC does, isn't it? They don't really give their directors just free reign to do anything that they want.
Right. That's my point. It's almost a shame that that's what he's going to next. Like, I don't know. It would be cool to really see him write and create something completely different. I don't know. But I think it's a win for DC, but also that's, Suicide Squad is what Suicide Squad is, and I don't know if there's a lot of saving it, but if somebody could do it, he might be the dude to pull it off. So best of luck. But yeah, I think James Gunn could just go do something completely on his own, and I think it would be a fun comeback for him if he just really owned something original.
Right.
Anyways.
Bobby, any thoughts before we close up?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I guess on The Mandalorian, that to me sounds like it should be really exciting based on this being their first thing. I'm on the record of saying, I want more Jedi and Sith in the universe, whether it's series or movies, but this sounds like it could still be something and it could be interesting. And I'm super curious at this point to see if the Mandalorian ends up being this character that was explored in the Aftermath book when it came out prior to the Force Awakens movie, or maybe just after. But those books came out that reintroduced canon of these books back into the universe, and there was a character that essentially comes upon Boba Fett's armor and ends up being sort of like this lawman on Tatooine, and being able to like sort of be a good guy. And so I'm curious if this is the same character or if this is a different character altogether. But it just sounds exciting just to know that, like you said, we finally have something tangible and expect to see more of this in the coming months. So absolutely on board for that. And as far as the Suicide Squad 2 stuff, I guess I'm more on board than you guys are, just because I knew that it seemed like it was going to be a matter of fact that Warner Brothers was going to try and pick him up to do something for DC. And while my mind didn't come immediately to the idea of it being Suicide Squad, it does really make sense that it would be Suicide Squad, just because of the fact that I think he knows how to do group dynamics really well, and he seems to have that template down. And it's funny because I saw a tweet, and I just pulled it up so I could sort of encapsulate exactly how it seems like it feels for DC getting James Gunn. And the tweet says, DC snagging James Gunn to make the sequel to the movie they made to rip off his movie is an incredible power move. And I'm like, yeah, because Suicide Squad kind of did sort of rip off elements of Guardians of the Galaxy with the music and all that stuff. And I was like, well, I guess if you want to try and do that, but you want to do it right, get the guy who sort of showed you how it's done. So, yeah, I mean, if they're going to do a Suicide Squad 2, not that was on my radar of movies I'm clamoring for, but if they're going to give it to us, then I'd want to see someone like James Gunn handling it.
Right. Cool. Well, we need to wrap things up, but I'll say really quick, I almost forgot, I finished Defenders this week, and I am crazy pumped for season 3 of Daredevil. Just wanted to put that out there.
Right.
Oh, bravo, David, bravo.
I finished something. No, look at me.
He's getting there.
I'm pretty pumped myself.
He's getting there.
After seeing that teaser, after seeing that trailer for that I don't understand how they made that franchise so good, but it is spectacular. I am so in on Daredevil. Like, I dig it. Like, that is the show right there. I don't plan on doing anything that weekend. I am going to do my best to watch 12 hours of straight television and enjoy and dig the hell out of the entire thing.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
I'm with you. I mean, obviously, I've been behind on some of those Marvel shows, and I like those shows, but they haven't been like Daredevil for me so far. Like, Luke Cage is good. I like Jessica Jones, but Daredevil is on another level for me. Those 2 seasons.
Daredevil
me too.
is... Anyway.
It is. The second season was just like, when you think you couldn't elevate really any further,
Yeah.
and they just really definitely elevated that second season, and you're just kind of like, dude, really? Like, I bring on the third. Like, I may watch the second season again before the show comes out, and it's only about a week away.
Right. And I'll say real quick, overall, I like Defenders. I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I thought I remember Defenders seemed like it kind of got a ho-hum reaction, or am I wrong there?
It did get a ho-hum. I think
right.
we liked it, but I think it got overall ho-hum review. But I think we all enjoyed it. I liked it.
Ho-hum.
You were ho-hum on it?
I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's just that the pacing was so much faster.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it too. Like, I mean, I dug it. Like, I mean, it did its, I thought it carried well. And it, paced well. And I, was hoping that we would get a sequel to that series, but it doesn't look like it.
It was just nice to see them all together in action too. I think the last couple of episodes were really good, but
yeah, I thought the chemistry of the group worked, and overall I liked it. I mean, maybe my one nitpicky thing is I hated those little kind of scene transitions they did with the shots of the city. Like,
interesting.
Something about that bugged me every time they would do it. Every time it would go from like one scene to another, and they'd do these quick shots of the streets, and then it would go to the next. But
it was in theming with who they were going to go to next. Like, this was the Jessica Jones kind of street shot. This was the Luke Cage kind of street shot.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and I don't know.
It was to kind of get you into this is what we're transitioning into.
I remember the first few times it did it in the first episode or two. I was like, I don't know what I think of this, and then finally, like 3 or 4 episodes in, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like it.
It just is what it is.
Stupid. Anyway, with that, we're going to wrap things up. As always, we'd like to hear back from everyone listening. Please email us at feedback@flickereffect.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at flicker_effect. And we'd love to hear from you. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening.